It is May 16th, 2012, and this is the garden. The tomato plants are now about 4 feet tall now, and as you can see, there is no insect damage. None. If you look down to the oldest, there is some insect damage from when it was first transplanted. However, through a repeated use of trace minerals in foliar feeding, the insects just leave the plants alone. So anyway, we have quite a few tomatoes growing. I added these bamboo spikes here for some of the branches that are just growing upwards. As you can see that one up there, it just got to be very long. These two here are actually because when I was thinning out the plants, turns out there were two tomato plants that were growing in different directions, and I decided that it'd be best to mound them in their separate directions as two separate plants so that the roots don't compete, and turns out I was right. You're able to do that. So by laying the stems on their sides, I was able to space them better and have less cut out. Anyway, those are the tomato plants. This is the flower bed. There are tulip bulbs in the ground, and there are some new flower bulbs coming in soon. These two large plants on either side are the amaryllis, although I do not expect any flowers to come in this season. And these in the ground are just some pretty annual flowers sitting on the surface. They don't come back each year, but you know, they can be put back on there. And the soil is very well draining. There's absolutely no chance whatsoever of overwatering the plants because of the few tons of gravel buried in it in the piping. However, during extremely heavy rain, because the piping underground ends to right about here, there can be a runoff going in this direction because water has to go somewhere. So what I did is I just put this little bit of wood here as a temporary thing until I can get the thing out situated on this gravel to keep dirt from running off. But with normal watering and normal rain conditions, that's not even necessary. I also have in here an irrigation system, and this is just a drip irrigation system. It just puts a little bit of water for deep root waters. Now these are the beet plants. They're doing really well. As you can see, there is some insect damage, but if you look carefully, you can see the red line around it. It means the plant healed around the holes. Basically, the insect damage occurred when it was first transplanted. And again, with foliar feeding, the insects just stopped attacking it. Similarly, the radishes. As you can see, there was some initial insect damage, but it's doing very well. And here we have the kale. Lots and lots of kale. Also, because the soil is so fertile, as you can see here, these are lots and lots of little mulberry seedlings. The plan is I'm going to leave those ones alone and just transplant them. This here is a kale that snapped under water and wind, and I tried to repair it, though I don't expect this one will. In hindsight, I shouldn't have taped it. I should have just put some nori wrap around it. I think the tape probably put some pressure on it. But it's just to be expected that some plants aren't going to make it, but most will. Anyway, this is the basic garden, and it's doing very well. The next step, of course, and oh yeah, these two here are also tomato plants growing here. The next step is to take care of this top tier. Now, I filled in the dirt here up to at least the point where it's around level with the front part. But I need to finish filling this up to the top so that I can put a topsoil and continue the gardening, which is what I'll be doing over the next couple of days. Although this part here is not perfect, this really is going to be completely buried on this part anyway, so I'm not really worried about this one. This is really just creating a separation. When it's all done, you won't barely see the wood below this part. And right here is where I'll be putting the first post for going to be an actual fence when I have everything worked on from there. So that way I'll have a good looking wooden fence instead of chicken wire. Here is the tubing for the irrigation. It's just a really nice type system. And that's pretty much it.